The Truck Series had a chaotic ending at Watkins Glen today, plus the ARCA winner is going to make you feel very old, and SVG's future is set with Trackhouse. Welcome back to the Breaking Bob channel. Hope y'all are doing well on this Friday night. We made it to the end of the week, and we've got racing to talk about as a matinee race today in Watkins Glen for ARCA and the Truck Series. They stretched out the sunlight today, that's for sure. Only about 5 minutes to spare, but we'll get to that. As always, though, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. NASCAR content on a daily basis here at Breaking Bob. I do my best to keep you in the know of the NASCAR world. And ARCA and the Truck Series providing the on-track action on Friday in the NASCAR world. We'll talk about the Truck Series first because that just went checkered flag a few minutes ago. Finally, it took an hour to do the last 20 laps. I was ready to do this post race. I was ready to have a night. I was ready to unwind and relax, but no, the Truck Series had other ideas. As they're at Watkins Glen for the third time in 25 years, the first time since 2021, where fittingly Austin Hill won. And by the way, not to go off on a tangent, but did you see his comments today where he swears up and down in his life that he did not intentionally wreck Eric Almirola? Sure. Okay. We'll believe you. Oh, yeah, sure. Anyway, let's get back on track because the Truck Series was at Watkins Glen today, and inevitably it was Corey Heim time as Corey Heim wins for the sixth time this year in the 2025 campaign. The Phenom for Tricon Garage just continues to do it one way or another. And this time it seemed like the season rewarded him for a couple of races that didn't go his way because he had to earn it today. 3 overtimes. He had to comb through the top 10 late in those last 20 laps. It was a struggle there. Had to stretch fuel mileage as well, stumbling on the S's on the last restart as well. Daniel Hemrick nearly caught him, but inevitably Corey Heim did hold off the field there. It was a stressful last 20 laps for sure. Multiple overtime restarts. The bus stop really gave the Truck Series fits there on those final restarts because a lot of really, really hard impacts for a couple of drivers. But for Corey Heim, he made that fuel mileage last those almost 40 laps in that final cycle for him. And I really wanted to see it come down to him and Christopher Bell, who was in that Stuart Friesen 52 truck. It was going to be a great story there. And Bell got all the way to that first overtime, and then he had to pit. He ran out of fuel. He didn't have enough to make it there. It was going to be a great story, just not today. But as chaotic of an ending as it was today at Watkins Glen, you got to see that's probably why the Truck Series doesn't race there a ton. Only the third time, like I said, in 25 years. But I'd like to think of the racing in stage 2. And that was really, really good racing. The first half of this race was pretty good. It just lost its way toward the end there with, again, cautions breeding cautions and those overtime restarts, NASCAR getting what they want. But you think about the heavy hitters today. I wanted to see Christopher Bell versus Corey Heim on that final couple of restarts there. It just seemed like today was a war of attrition for not only the heavy hitters, but the field in general. A lot of mechanical issues, but I want to focus on some of the drivers that I mentioned with that stage 2. Some really good racing to start. You saw a lot of the Cup Series regulars. Ross Chastain, he had a fuel pump issue that ruined his stage 3. He had some decent track position midway through the race. And then you look at Kyle Busch in Aspire Motorsports entry. Now 1 for 5 this year in the Truck Series starts. Now, as he finished dead last, he had a steering box issue that didn't even let him really get through a couple of laps in stage 1, but before it went behind the box there for Kyle Busch. Frustrating, though. It seems like everything is going wrong for him. As the ending of his career, it seems like is getting closer and closer. I guess it's more than we previously thought, maybe potentially. But we focus on that. And then Connor Zilic, who had speed today as well in the Nice Motorsports entry for Caden Honeycutt, who had mechanical issues of his own. Connor Zilic get caught up in that stage 2 final restart there. He got spun, got caught up in the gravel there. He ended up bringing it into a top 10 finish after getting back on the lead lap, but just didn't have the speed after the damage he sustained. There are multiple trucks with just damage. It felt like a super speedway when you looked at the field there toward the end of the race. All the tape, the damage, it's carnage everywhere. The wrecks. I mean, Watkins Glen always produces some bad wrecks. You got Ben Rhodes losing a wheel, and that was a vicious wreck as well. Just it produced action, I guess, one way or another. Was it good action? Who's to say? But you definitely got something to talk about, at least, I guess, heading to tomorrow with the Xfinity race and then, of course, Cup on Sunday. And before Corey Heim took to victory lane today, the ARCA Menard Series took to the track in the middle of the day up in Upper New York, and some history was made as the second youngest series winner in ARCA history, as Tristan McKee, a Spire Motorsports development driver who just turned 15, this week. This time last week, Tristan McKee was 14 years old. I said in the intro you were going to feel old when you heard the ARCA winner. Yeah, you probably feel old. I feel like a dinosaur right now. But Tristan McKee, a fresh 15-year-old driver, signing with Spire Motorsports this year in a development deal, finally getting a chance to run in the ARCA Menard Series. Once you turn 15, you can race, and he's going to run. He raced at Watkins Glen and got a little lucky there with Brent Cruz running. Had an electrical issue, I believe. He came to a complete stop there on that final caution there, and it was a one-lap dash there where after Brent Cruz dominated the race, it was wide open, and we almost got a Chris Wright win in the ARCA Series. But instead, Tristan McKee, your winner, first of probably many in the ARCA Series. We'll see what his career looks like, but a name that you're going to probably be hearing more and more in the NASCAR world as he ages and gets more opportunities in these rides at the ARCA level. And it's just, again, 15 years old. This time last week, 14 years old. What were you doing at 14? Put me behind the wheel of an ARCA car when I turned 15. I would have been an absolute menace. I wouldn't have got through the first turn at Watkins Glen. Just incredible to see how young some of these drivers are, and still the poise and composure that they're ready for these moments. It's incredible as he's, of course, has a background in late model racing, won in a lot of these big tracks in the Southeast, historic tracks, Hickory, to say one of just a few of them. Again, it's going to be the first of many wins, and I'm interested to see what the career of young Tristan McKee looks like. And from one young prospect to another, this time in the NASCAR Cup Series world, is young Shane Van Gisbergen in his rookie year in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's in his 30s now, but of course, in his first full-time year in the NASCAR Cup Series world, former Supercars champion, multi-winner already this year, and he's now signed a multi-year extension at Trackhouse Racing, solidifying his place in the NASCAR world and solidifying his home at Trackhouse. Now, it's going to be announced very soon. Connor Zilisch coming to the fold in the 99 car. Trackhouse's driver lineup is set for years to come with Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Connor Zilisch. And for whatever the results on track may be, that's a dynamic lineup that's going to move the needle as far as fans. And I'm again, Trackhouse moving away from Daniel Suarez, who's very fan friendly, very sponsor friendly, replacing him with Connor Zilisch, and then Shane Van Gisbergen's consistency as he's building on ovals and his dominance on road courses. As everyone's looking at Watkins Glen this weekend saying it's SVG versus the field. And last year, him and Chris Buescher battling toward the end, and SVG just tapping the wall in the bus stop before Buescher got away at the end. There was a great battle in SVG's dominance at road courses recently in the last 2 months. He's earned his way in the NASCAR world for sure, especially in this winning you're in playoff scenario. So as long as that's the case, Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be at Trackhouse for the foreseeable future in a multi-year deal. So, we've got Shane Van Gisbergen's contract extension at Trackhouse. We've got a young winner in ARCA. And Corey Heim, inevitable, even though the Truck Series was chaotic at their return to Watkins Glen. If you like what you saw, like this video, it helps me out a ton. Subscribe to the Breaking Bob channel for more NASCAR content. Norman just went on a walk, so he's busy. And you'll have to catch him on the next video, probably tomorrow night, as the Xfinity cars will be on track tomorrow. Of course, Cup Series qualifying and practice as well from the Glen. We'll have more on-track action to recap, but as always, stay tuned for more, folks. Appreciate you for watching. I'll see you next time.